By now, life on my ranch had grown more colorful. After the concrete fence debacle with HOA Karen, I thought perhaps the worst of petty neighborhood antics was behind me. I was wrong. The next incident arrived on a sunny Tuesday morning, delivered via a formal letter slipped under my gate. The HOA had somehow scheduled a wedding on my ranch. Yes, an entire ceremony with tents, chairs, and flower arrangements, without my knowledge or consent. At first, I thought it was a clerical error, a simple mix-up. Perhaps they had intended the local park down the road. But no, the letter included a detailed map highlighting my property, a list of dates, and even a warning that my non-compliance could result in fines and legal action. Apparently, my ranch had become some sort of community venue in their imagination. I stared at the letter, incredulous. Weddings had been scheduled, but surely no one would actually show up. But as I glanced out over the horizon the following morning, I saw it. Rows of white chairs neatly arranged on my lawn, a large floral arch by the edge of the pond, and volunteers scurrying around, setting up what was intended to be a picturesque outdoor ceremony. They were confident, oblivious, and completely unaware that I owned the land outright. At first, I considered calling the HOA. Surely they would realize the absurdity of the situation once I explained it. But then I had a better idea. If they thought they could just waltz onto my property and host a wedding without consequence, why not escalate creatively? I made a few calls. By late afternoon, a small crew of demolition experts had arrived under the pretense of landscape renovations. I explained the situation in broad strokes and requested a discreet, controlled demolition. My team brought in equipment, carefully targeted the staging areas, and ensured that no one or nothing would be harmed. The result? A gentle, yet unmistakable disruption. Tents collapsed, chairs toppled, and the floral arch now resembled an abstract sculpture of twisted metal and petals. By the time the HOA representatives arrived to inspect the setup, all that remained were scattered decorations and a faint cloud of dust. Their jaws dropped as they realized the wedding would not proceed as planned. Murmurs of outrage filled the empty air, while I sipped iced tea on my porch, watching the chaos unfold with quiet satisfaction. Of course, they called me furious names in letters and emails, accusing me of vandalism and obstruction of community events. I replied calmly, citing trespassing laws, property rights, and the importance of asking permission before turning private land into public event space. They were flustered. Their smug confidence from the previous incidents had begun to waver. That day, I learned a valuable lesson. Some problems are best solved creatively rather than legally. The HOA thought they could treat my ranch like a public venue. I showed them that no amount of planning could overcome simple reality. I owned the property and I determined what could and could not occur on it. By nightfall, the chairs were returned to storage, the tents dismantled, and the floral arch carefully removed. The lawn, however, remained marked by subtle evidence of what had happened. A reminder of the audacity of the HOA and the quiet, unyielding authority of the ranch owner. I leaned back in my chair, watching the sun set over the rolling fields, and realized that life on my ranch was no longer just about solitude and serenity. It was about vigilance, creativity, and occasionally orchestrated chaos. And as I contemplated the next potential intrusion, I couldn't help but smile. After all, the HOA had just learned that my property rights came with consequences, and I had only just begun teaching them.